Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1996B, and today's date is October 15th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Declas Disinformation Projected, Chatter, Julian Assange back in the news. Now, before we get started, let's talk about protecting yourself. The world-famous delivery app DoorDash has announced that its security has been breached. One of the best things you can do to help protect yourself online is to sign up for a free 30-day trial of Virtual Shield VPN. Here, let me show you how easy this is. I'm going to go to virtualshield.com. I click connect, and boom, I'm connected. My IP address is now different than before. See? This month, Virtual Shield is offering a Halloween month-long special at 25% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons. Sign up for a free 30-day trial to Virtual Shield VPN and see what the hype is about. You have nothing to lose. Click the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, I just wanted to make a correction yesterday on my report. I said the Port of Long Beach is in Adam Schiff's district. That was incorrect. It is Adam Lowenthal's district. That's whose district that is. Now, the deep state, they are now trying to do damage control with Hunter Biden, Joe Biden. Hunter Biden gave an interview. He says it's all a conspiracy theory. The deep state right now, they're struggling. They are the hunted. Hunter is now the hunted. The deep state is now operating in the dark. They don't want the American people to see they have nothing that they can use for this impeachment. They're in trouble. The impeachment is not going anywhere. And I do not believe they have the votes, because if they actually had the votes, they would have held the vote to show that Congress is behind the impeachment. The IG report was supposed to be released on October 18th, and now they're saying it will be a little bit later. Disinformation to keep the deep state off guard and to gather intel to see what they are planning. Flynn and Trump, they put up similar Twitter banners. We'll be talking about this a little bit later in this report. But first, it seems the deep state, they are putting out feelers for Michelle Obama. I know she said she's not going to run. There's 0% chance of this happening. So why put out a poll? The Boston Herald Franklin Pierce University survey released a poll indicating a three-way tie for the top spot in New Hampshire, with Senator Elizabeth Warren at 25%, former Vice President Joe Biden at 24%, and Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont at 22%. But if Michelle Obama hypothetically jumped into the race, the poll suggested she would grab 26% support of likely Democratic primary voters in the state, with Warren and Biden at 20% and Sanders at 15%. Why would they do this? They're putting out feelers. They want to see, because who do they have right now? Elizabeth Warren? Biden, he's in trouble. He has this whole Ukrainian scandal that's creeping up on him, and he can't get rid of it. This is why Hunter Biden came out of the shadows and decided to go on the mainstream media to clear his name. And the mainstream media, they did what they do best. They asked softball questions. They did no real investigation into Biden's finances. They didn't even look at it. They're just taking his word and saying, well, our fact checkers say, which means there was no fact checking. Rudy Giuliani, Trump, they are pushing this to the extreme. And Hunter Biden is saying that Rudy Giuliani and Trump, they're pushing a conspiracy theory. Hunter fell right into the trap. He just lied to the American people. This is exactly what the patriots wanted him to do. It's called exposing yourself. Telling the world, I did nothing wrong. I didn't take any money. And I was supposed to be on the board because I had experience when I was on the board with Amtrak. That's a whole nother problem. But Hunter Biden says he did nothing wrong. that it's Trump's and Rudy Giuliani's fault. Hunter Biden was asked very simple questions about money and his business dealings. Take a listen to part of the interview here.
Obviously, fact checkers have said that that is not true.
Look, this is literally has no basis in fact in any way.
Have you received any money from that business dealing?
No.
At all? Not 1 cent?
Not 1 cent.
Definitely not 1.5 billion.
It's crazy. They feel like they have the license to go out and say whatever they want. It feels to me like living in some kind of Alice in Wonderland, where you're up on the real world and then you fall down the rabbit hole and, you know, the president's the Cheshire Cat asking you questions about crazy things.
So what was this interview used for? This was used by the mainstream media, by the deep state, to show that Hunter Biden did nothing wrong. And we're just supposed to take his word for it. Well, maybe the mainstream media should just interview Trump and say, Russian collusion, obstruction. Trump just can say, it's a conspiracy theory. No, it doesn't exist. And then they could say, how come you didn't release your taxes? Because I didn't want to. I didn't do anything wrong with my taxes. I just don't want to release them. There's no law. And then with the phone call with Zelensky, it's just a regular phone call. So let's see. They're taking Hunter Biden's word that nothing happened, but they don't take the president's word. They have a full-blown investigation. So if we take what the deep state says about Trump, we should do the same thing about Hunter Biden. We shouldn't take his word, and there should be a full-blown investigation. Well, they did it to Trump. We should do it to the Bidens, because we're hearing there's corruption. And Rudy Giuliani went out and gathered all this information. Now, what's very interesting is that Hunter said something that we've heard before. Alice in Wonderland. He made this reference. This is not a coincidence that he mentioned this. He mentioned the rabbit hole. He said that Trump is the Cheshire Cat. Now the question is, why would he be mentioning all of this? I think this is a message to the deep state. If I go down, everything that I know about, I'm exposing. So you better protect me here. You better do something. And we need to go back to post 2050 here. Remember when Q gave us the list of all the areas that were closed? Saudi Arabia, access closed. Epstein Island, access closed. And below this it says HRC equals Alice. Saudi Arabia equals Wonderland. Who are the white rabbits? And I do believe that Hunter and Joe, they know all about this, and he referenced this on purpose. It was a message. Trump tweeted out the following. Hunter Biden was really bad on GMA. Now Sleepy Joe has real problems. Reminds me of Crooked Hillary and her 33,000 deleted emails. Not recoverable. Yes, Hunter Biden and Hillary, they just keep digging their hole deeper and deeper and deeper. Think about it. The American people don't like it when they're lied to. When evidence comes out, people are going to go back to this interview and they're going to say, whoa, he told us that there was no 1.5 billion. He didn't take a cent. His father and him, they didn't discuss it at all. And guess what? He's going to get caught up in his lies. He's already getting caught up in his lies. He changed his answer during the interview. Hunter Biden said he never discussed business dealings he had outside the country with his father. But when you go to the New Yorker, which was a story that was published July 1st, he did speak to his father once about Burisma. And this is the quote. As Hunter recalled, his father discussed Burisma with him just once. Dad said, I hope you know what you are doing. And I said, I do. And you know that wasn't the only part of the conversation. You know there was much more. And Rudy Giuliani, He has all the evidence on Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. The deep state, they fear Rudy Giuliani. They're going after him. And the patriots, they knew this was going to happen. Rudy Giuliani let everyone know that the deep state will try to discredit him and destroy his reputation. The patriots had been prepared for this. And this is what's very interesting. Rudy Giuliani investigated Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, the corruption in Ukraine, gather the evidence. And now we have certain individuals within New York that are now investigating the investigator. Look what they're doing here. Now, Rudy Giuliani was called into the House. They gave him the fake subpoena. And guess what Rudy Giuliani did? He responded. He responded to the House and he said the following. This is through his attorney. Well, he tweeted out, "I will not participate in an illegitimate, unconstitutional, and baseless impeachment inquiry. John Sale, who is a lifelong friend, who represented me for the sole purpose of analyzing the request and responding, at this time, I do not need a lawyer." And this is what it says. This is what they returned to the House. "I am writing on behalf of Mr. Rudolph W. Giuliani in response to the letter from Chairman Schiff, Engel, and Cummings dated September 30th, 2019, and the accompanying subpoena. Please accept this response as a formal notice that Mr. Giuliani will not participate because this appears to be an unconstitutional, baseless, and illegitimate impeachment inquiry. By the way of this response, Mr. Giuliani adopts all the positions set forth in Mr. Cipollone's October 8th, 2019 letter on behalf of President Trump. In addition, the subpoena is overbroad, unduly burdensome, and seeks documents beyond the scope of legitimate inquiry. Moreover, documents sought in the subpoena are protected by attorney-client, attorney-work product, and executive privileges." Boom. He just shot them down. Remember, there really isn't an impeachment inquiry. There was never a vote. And these aren't subpoenas. And this is why Giuliani is striking back and saying absolutely not. Trump tweeted out the following. "Shifty Schiff now seems to think they don't need the whistleblower who started the whole scam. The reason is that the whistleblower has lost all credibility because the story is so far from the facts on the transcript. Also, the second whistleblower is no longer even mentioned." That's right. They can't use the whistleblowers. Trump released his transcript, put the kibosh on the whole thing. And this whole idea of they're trying to protect the whistleblower, trying to keep him a secret, is absolutely ridiculous. Jim Jordan said, he has a right to protection. That's what the whistleblower statute says. It doesn't say anonymity. That's right. All these politicians, all these individuals that testify, yes, they can be protected with guards. It doesn't mean that you can't know who it is. So why are they hiding this person? We all know why. The whole thing would just fall apart. Jim Jordan reports on the hearing with Fiona Hill. And this is what he had to say. He tweeted out the following. "Once again, nothing that Fiona Hill said today in her deposition was classified. None of it should have been hidden from the American people. But Representative Adam Schiff continues his agenda to impeach the president with a secretive, biased, and unfair process." Representative Michael Waltz responded to Jim Jordan. "I'm potentially expected to vote on impeaching the President of the United States, yet as a member of Congress, I'm not allowed to see transcripts of the witness testimony. And my Democratic colleagues truly care about the Constitution and not politics, they will demand the same." Then we find out that Fiona Hill was not even working in the White House at the time of Trump's call. But she was very upset with the call. How could that possibly be? According to reports, Fiona Hill resigned days before the call. So it's not clear why they needed to speak with her for 11 hours. Hill had zero knowledge of the call and only heard rumors. What else did she dig up that they tried to get? Because she wasn't even there. What would be the purpose of her even testifying? And why is it behind closed doors? Now, the Democrats, they keep changing the rules to fit their fake impeachment inquiry. They just did it again. The Dems have now shifted the closed-door interviews to depositions in order to limit the questioning to one attorney per round. Also, if the Democrat-controlled committees issue subpoenas, it changes things from a transcribed interview to a deposition. The Democrats are doing this to avoid releasing transcripts of the depositions interviews conducted in secret. Adam Schiff and other Democrats can also selectively leak to the media without having to answer to transcripts as proof of their deception. And with this new process, we have no way of knowing what was really said behind closed doors. And of course, what are they doing? They're trying to figure out a way to push this impeachment forward. Each time they have these witnesses testify behind closed doors, they take a temperature reading to see who's on board with the impeachment vote. That's what this is all about. And right now, as it stands, they're not getting the votes. And Adam Schiff himself, he's in trouble. Representative Andy Biggs, who is the chair of the conservative House Freedom Caucus, and the House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy, and the House Minority Whip, Steve Scalise, and House Republican Conference Chair Liz Cheney, they all signed on to Biggs' resolution, where it says as follows: whereas, instead of quoting directly from the available transcript, Chairman Schiff manufactured a false retelling of the conversation between Trump and Zelensky. Whereas this egregiously false and fabricated retelling had no relationship to the call itself. Whereas these actions of Chairman Schiff misled the American people, bring disrepute upon the House of Representatives, and make a mockery of the impeachment process, one of the chamber's most solemn constitutional duties. So 125 House members sign on to the motion to punish Schiff for lying to the American people, to Congress. And he should be ousted and brought up on charges. And then we have Judicial Watch, who just outed Yovanovitch, who was the former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. Judicial Watch says that Marie Yovanovitch initiated a request for State Department officials to conduct surveillance on Jack Posobiec, Donald Trump Jr., Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Michael McFaul, Obama's ambassador to Russia, Dan Bongino, Ryan Savendra, Rudy Giuliani, Sebastian Gorka, John Solomon, Lou Dobbs, Pamela Geller, and Sarah Carter. Judicial Watch has obtained information indicating Yovanovitch may have violated laws and government regulations by ordering subordinates to target certain U.S. persons using State Department resources. Yovanovitch reportedly ordered monitoring keyed to the following search terms: Biden, Giuliani, Soros, and Yovanovitch. Judicial Watch has filed a Freedom of Information Act request with the State Department and will continue gathering facts from government sources. Prior to being recalled as an ambassador to Ukraine in the spring, Yovanovitch reportedly created a list of individuals who were to be monitored via social media and other means. Ukraine embassy staff made the request to the Washington, D.C. headquarters office of the Department's Bureau of European and Eurasian Affairs. After several days, Yovanovitch's staff was informed that the request was illegal and the monitoring either ceased or was concealed via the State Department Global Engagement Center, which was looser restrictions on collecting information. This is not an obscure rule. Everyone in public diplomacy or public affairs knows they can't make lists and monitor U.S. citizens unless there is a major national security reason. So how exactly does the U.S. State Department monitor people or persons they define as adverse to their interests? Can anyone say illegal FISA warrants? This whole entire thing is going to fall apart all around them. The walls are closing in. I know the mainstream media and the deep state players and all these people are always out there saying the walls are closing in on Trump. The walls are really closing in on the deep state. More and more evidence is out there pointing to what they have done and all the illegal activity that they have done. And once all this comes out and the public learns, they're going to be in a huge amount of trouble for lying to the American people, for committing crimes, for committing treason, for committing crimes against humanity. Think about how the deep state has been reacting lately. Think about their plans and how they're not working like they used to, how they're completely being countered at every turn. Think about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden defending themselves now. The mainstream media defending themselves now. Think about Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi. They're in the back room, in the dark, trying to figure a way out of all this. Because they know, once the IG report comes, once the Declas is all put out there, they're going to have a very difficult time fighting this off. The mainstream media is going to have a very difficult time fighting this off. They never expected Trump and the patriots to get this far. And they don't know what to do about it. And as every day passes, more and more information comes out. Look at this from BNL News. They're reporting that a lot of the information was sent directly to Obama. Breaking. Fusion GPS Glenn Simpson reveals that he was first hired to investigate Trump in the fall of 2015, and that memos from his now discredited Steele dossier made their way directly to President Obama. And like I said, they never expected Trump and the Patriots to get this far. Their plan was Mueller. Their plan was to get Trump impeached on Russian collusion or obstruction. Everything after that, they didn't plan for. They thought they had him. This is why Adam Schiff and the mainstream media were playing it up for 2 years or so, because they thought this was a shoo-in. It was all said and done. And now they're in the dark. I mean, literally, they're in the dark. And they're trying everything. But as you can see, the Patriots, they're in complete and utter control. Go ahead. Bring out your whistleblower. Here's the transcript. Go ahead, try to impeach. But do it in public. Oh, wait, you can't? Oh, that's right. Let's see the whistleblower. Have him testify. Oh, wait, you don't want to? The Patriots are directing what they do. The Patriots are in full control. Now, Maria Bartiromo, she's been reporting that the IG report was going to be released on October 18th. And she's been saying this for, I think, since, last week or so. And now she tweeted out something completely different. The opposite, actually. Update. IG report not, and that's all caps, out this Friday, 10/18. Classifications being made. Likely end of month. So now it's the end of the month. Well, we have to question, why was this done this way? Well, we know the Patriots like to use disinformation. Why? It allows them to hear chatter. It allows them to see what the deep state is up to. If they think that the IG report is going to be coming out on the 18th, you know they were planning something and they were going to use it to clog the news cycles. This allowed the Patriots to hear what they were planning and counter what they were planning. Now they're confused because they've just learned the Declas, the IG report is not going to be released until the end of the month. So which is it? Is it going to be released on the 18th or is it going to be released on the 31st, Halloween? Or is it going to be released in November? They don't know when to use their ammunition. Let's go back to post 2856. And this is February 22nd, 2019, if you know your opponent's move, what advantages that does present? If you have the truth on your side, what advantages does that present? If you have full control of the U.S. military, what advantages does that present? If you have complete authority to declass, what advantages does that present? If you have the support of the American people, patriots, what advantages does that present? Do not trust the fake news media. You are the majority. Mueller, with an arrow pointing to Declas, pointing to OIG, pointing to truth, then justice. The Great Awakening. You are the news now. Now, Trump and the Patriots, they're using this disinformation to push the deep state into making their move. And they want them to use their ammunition. Remember, ammunition is hard to come by. Once the ammunition is used, the Patriots release the information. Remember, it's very difficult to create these events on the fly. It takes time for them to plan them, to organize them, to get everything in place. And this is what the Patriots wanted them to do. They wanted to hear the chatter. They wanted to understand what they were up to so they could counter the event and have them use it so they no longer have ammunition. There's no longer they can clog the news cycle. And this way they can release the report with nothing that can block it. And this is how the Patriots play the deep state. Now, we just got news that Julian Assange is headed to court in the UK. He was ordered by the British authorities to appear in London court to figure out whether he can be let out of prison while his extradition status is determined. Now, remember, Julian Assange is the key. And we need to go back to post 3341. In this post, someone asked the question, is Julian Assange okay? Is he protected? Q responded, under protection, threat is real, key to DNC source hack 187. So, the murder of Seth Rich. So, Julian Assange is under protection. He is the key to the DNC data leak and the Seth Rich murder. Now, the reason why they're having them brought back to the United States, the reason why they use charges that are years old, is because they want him to testify to what really happened with the DNC, with Seth Rich. And they're using these charges to bring him back. And most likely, later on, these will be dropped. He is the key moving forward. And as we enter 2020, they're preparing him to come back here. Everything is in motion right now. And we're going to see this ramp up as time goes on. And you're going to see the deep state players, they're going to start to really panic. They're going to have nervous breakdowns because once Julian Assange is coming back to the U.S., the deep state, they're going to go into overdrive panic here. Remember, it's wave after wave after wave to make them feel the pain. That's what this is about. And Project Veritas, they're making the mainstream media, especially CNN, feel the pain. They had part 1, and now they just released part 2. And it looks like Zucker is in trouble here. Trump tweeted out the following. Project Veritas obtained undercover video highlights of Jeff Zucker's at CNN campaign to destroy Trump. Videos reveal CNN bias. Does this sound like a good or even great lawsuit? Yes, it does. Trump continued. Now that we've found out that at CNN is a virtual fraud, rumor has it that Jeff Zucker will be resigning momentarily. That would be incredible. We are now seeing more and more arrests of human traffickers. In Michigan, the Genesee County Sheriff's Office Ghost Task Force has announced the arrest of 12 people in connection to human trafficking. 12 people were all arrested and charged with child sexual abusive material, use of computer to commit a crime, and accosting a child for immoral purposes. The arrests were part of the task force's latest phase in their ongoing operation targeting human trafficking. So far, They've made 48 arrests since the Ghost Task Force was created. And this task force was created a little more than 4 months ago. And already 48 arrests. And we're going to see a lot more. Not just there, but throughout the country. Now, out in Syria, the plan is moving forward. The mainstream media, the deep state, the neocons, and other countries, they do not have the power to stop what Trump is doing. So they're screaming and yelling very, very loudly. The mainstream media, they're doing whatever they possibly can to try to stop Trump, saying this is awful. Other politicians are out there, even Lindsey Graham, saying this should not be happening. Remember, most of these people were involved in what was going on in Syria, Libya, Lebanon, Iraq, Ukraine, you name it, Somalia, you name it. Now, the Pentagon has confirmed that they will be handing Manbij over to Russia as the U.S. forces leave this area. Now, remember, the forces were there because the deep state were using the U.S. military forces to keep everything operational in Syria, to protect the deep state operatives, to protect the paid mercenaries, to have them hit certain targets that Obama dictated to them. Trump is removing the protection, and he's returning the country back to Syria. Constitutionally, we had no reason to be in Syria. They didn't invite the United States in there. We invaded. Think about that for a second. We invaded a country, just like we invaded other countries to have regime change. And I'm not saying the American people were behind this. I'm saying this is what the deep state did. But again, the mainstream media, they just turned away and they did whatever the deep state told them to say and leave everything else out. So the American people, they thought we were going in there because we were going after terrorists. There was a grassroots uprising. The people wanted a different leader. No, this was all part of the plan of the deep state. They used their paid mercenary forces, and they made us believe that the Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, they were bad terrorists. No, they were paid mercenary forces controlled by the intelligence organizations. Now, what Turkey is doing there, they are pushing back the Kurds, and they are making space to return the 3 million refugees that escaped out of Syria and into Turkey. Why did they leave Syria? Because the Islamic State took over their villages, their land. The deep state promised the Kurds certain areas within Syria. And now they're pushing those deep state operatives, the land that they took, they're pushing it back, and they're going to be returning the 3 million refugees, and they're going to allow them to have this land. Turkey doesn't want them anymore. The whole plan of releasing them into Europe has gone down the drain. That was the plan that Soros had. And Turkey's sitting here saying, we don't want these. So Turkey is securing the border, pushing back the land that the deep state has taken, allowing these people to return to their land, and they're going to live there in Syria, not in Turkey anymore, because the Soros plan is down the tubes. Now, Trump's Syrian maneuver is working. Erdogan is asking for negotiations with the Kurds in Syria. Didn't Trump say this was going to happen? That he'll mediate peace talks between Erdogan, the Kurds, Syria, Russia will join in? Yes, I know Trump is placing sanctions on Erdogan of Turkey. This was all part of the plan. Optics are very important. And the plan is working. The refugees are going to be returned. The border is going to be secured. The deep state players are going to be removed. The black sites destroyed. And there's going to be peace in the region. Syria, once again, will be their own nation without any outside interference, especially from the intelligence organization. And guess what? There will be peace. And Trump, once again, instead of war, he pushed peace. Now, very interestingly, as we know, the Declas, the IG report is coming out soon. And I know Q has talked about deepfake videos, but now we have something else. Researchers are now warning about the risks of computer-generated articles. And they're releasing tools that will ferret out the fake articles. Now, they're saying that these articles, they sound real, but they're made up news articles, and they've become much easier to produce thanks to a handful of new tools powered by artificial intelligence, and it raises concerns about potential misuse of the technology. So just like deepfake videos, they're preparing to say, oh, those stories that you're hearing, those are deepfake articles because they're created by artificial intelligence. This is how they're going to try to explain away everything that is happening. But once again, there are tools to say, yeah, these aren't deepfake articles. These are not deepfake videos. And their plan is going to go down the drain. Why? Because there's going to be evidence backing it up. There's going to be facts backing it up. There's going to be truth backing it up. Remember, the deep state, they think in their terms. So they're thinking propaganda. They're thinking, well, we can always destroy propaganda. They don't think in facts. They don't think in evidence. Think about everything that they've thrown at Trump. It was never based in anything. And they think, and this is the way they think, that everything that comes out, it's going to be propaganda. But they're mistaken. The patriots have it all. Now, very interestingly, Trump on his Twitter page and General Flynn on his Twitter page, they both have the same type of banner. Now, I don't mean the picture, but the motion of the arms, where General Flynn has a paratrooper with his arms wide open, and Trump is standing in front of the crowd with his arms wide open. And this is coming from Running the Race. President Trump and General Flynn, current Twitter banners. In case you wondered, I've saved these for historical purposes and note any changes. And I do believe that Flynn and Trump, they're on the same page. Flynn's going to be set free. He's going to let everyone know where the bodies are buried. And you can see how everything is coming together now. Trump and the patriots are in total control. They're controlling what the deep state is doing right now. They want them to move forward with impeachment. They want them to do everything behind closed doors. They want them to make it seem like they've got something, because this exposes them at every turn. And once everything falls apart, they hit them with another wave. And people are starting to catch on. Since the beginning, you can see push, push, push with all their propaganda. This is coming out of the mainstream media and Adam Schiff and Pelosi and the rest. The whole witch hunt, Russian collusion dies down. Boom, a wave comes out. Push, push, push on Russian collusion obstruction. They need Mueller in there. It falls apart. Another wave comes out. Zelensky, same thing. Push, push, push. It all falls apart. Another wave comes out. They're slowly showing the American people that these individuals, they lie. Their agenda is to themselves, not to the people. And every time Trump comes out, it's shown that he's telling the truth. And people are recognizing this. Actually, the rallies, they have grown since they started this whole impeachment. Since the Russian collusion and the obstruction, since that time, each time they're wrong, the rallies get bigger and bigger and bigger. Why? Because people aren't buying it anymore. The patriots are in control. The next wave is coming. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.